to say that this broadcast or this hangout on there is live. And I decided to pump out another video that's just, I don't know, kind of intro to functional programming. But why not just say intro to programming in general? So I pumped out 2 earlier videos. It was learning to program with F# Volume 1 and learning to program with F# Volume 2. And this one is learning to program with F# Volume 3. And what I built, if I could share my desktop, what I built, share my desktop, is I could kill you. I guess I could kill you too. Is I wrote a little console application where we retrieve the name, we retrieve the race, and then we display that information, right? So like this is the main driver. And I refactored this code a little bit since the last video. But essentially, the module that we import has actual implementation details for retrieving a name and retrieving a race. And this is the module that we call helpers, right? And I wonder if Control-MO will collapse. Control-MO collapses within Visual Studio. If I do Control-ML, it should expand. Control-ML expands. I think this has been fixed. All right, cool, good stuff. All right, so we have our retrieval functions, and then we have a starts with val bool function. We have a modifier, which is either going to be and or nothing at all. We have display info, which displays a summary of the information that we retrieved. So what does that mean, Willis? What does that mean? Well, if I run this application, I usually hit F5. I should refrain from using the mouse. If I run this application, then it should say enter your name and then some carriage returns, and I say Sky Dog, come here, Sky Dog, okay? And then I hit enter, it says enter your ethnicity. I need to change that to race, but I'm American Negro, however you spell Negro. I'm not sure how you spell Negro. And I hit enter, and it says, hello, Scott Dog, you are an American Negro. Now, notice the grammar of an, right? That's what we want. Now, if I just said, let's start this over, right? So if I hit F5 and I run this application again and enter your name, I say Sky Dog, right? And then it says enter your ethnicity, and I said black. If I hit enter, it says, hello, Sky Dog, you are black. Recognize that it doesn't have the, I'll say modifier because I don't know the appropriate word for it, but it doesn't have, hello, Scott, you are and black. No, it says, hello, Scott, you are black. And that's the correct grammar to use, within the sentence. So this was basically the result of the first 2 videos of me attempting to teach or demonstrate how to get started with programming using a functional first language called F#. All right. So there's a little bit of a modification I want to make because, well, ethnicity, we're no longer using that word, and we should use ubiquitous language. So we should say race because race is used everywhere else. Yes. All right. So I said that, right? Now, what do I want to introduce in this video? Well, this video, maybe I should introduce types, okay? So what do I mean by types? Well, you have, how would I define a type? Okay, so I would define a type within programming as a name of a data structure. So what does that mean? Well, in programming, we usually have something that we call primitive types. Primitive types would include an integer, a float, a double, a decimal. I'm not sure if decimal is really a primitive type. A string, uh, a char or char. I usually say char, but I think it's pronounced char, as in character. A boolean, right, or bool, right? So that's like a bit, true or false, on or off. Unsigned integer, right? A short. These are all types. So, for example, I could say, how do I want to do this? Do I want to put this in help? No, I'm going to create a new file called, if I do Control-Shift-A, that'll prompt me to create a new file. I'm going to call this file types, okay? And so in my types, I'm going to have type, oh, come here, name, okay? And type name equals string, all right? And well, yeah, that's fine. And then I'm going to have something else called type, let's do lowercase c, type, okay, race. And type race is going to be a string as well, okay? So I'm defining a data structure that I'm going to call name and race, but I mean, really, this is a data structure. It's not an alias because name is going to be a wrapper of a string value. Race is going to be a wrapper of a string value, okay? If I wanted to do something like type age, then I could say equals, and where the majority of the world would say integer, age can't be negative, so it should really be an unsigned integer, something like uint. In this case, I guess we'll say 16. And yeah, so what does that mean? Well, that means that theoretically, I should not be able to say let age equals and then say age and then -1. Like theoretically, I shouldn't be able to do that, right? Again, this age type that I defined up here, well, I'm down here setting a value in which I'm using the age type as a constructor that will wrap around this value called -1. But this isn't going to compile because a uint is an unsigned integer, meaning that, well, my understanding is it doesn't support any negative values. It's unsigned. It can only be an absolute value. So if I were to say, if I were to get rid of the u and just have int 16 and then get rid of that negative right there, well, I will kind of expect this squiggly to go away. The object constructor takes int 16. The object constructor int16 takes 0 arguments, but here is given 1. And I'm not sure what that means. Am I supposed to do something like that? And maybe wrap it around like this? I don't think so. Okay, well, that's something I need to Stack Overflow. But what I should do is, let's say that we just want to make this an int for right now. Now, if I do it this way, this is still going to complain. And, come here. The red squiggly, oh, has it been that long since I wrote F#? This should be it. I'm gonna have to delete this video. Apparently, it's been a while since I did F#. And so the object constructor int32 takes 0 arguments, but is given 1. The required signature is system.int32. Boom. Okay. So, I think in F sharp, I'm supposed to do something like this. And the compiler is happy. So it's been a while. I think it's been like an entire week since I wrote this code because during my day job, I'm writing C sharp. But let me try to explain this. Okay. My OCD is taking over, so things must be aligned. Here. All right. So age is going to be unsigned integer, and I think we said 16. And that should be okay, right? Same thing as this right here, right? We shouldn't need the parentheses, but it is saying that expect to have uint 16, but here has int. I don't know what that means. If I put parentheses back here, it shouldn't resolve it at all. Come here. So I'm not sure what that means. So I have to cast it to uint 16 like this. And maybe do something like this. I don't know. I have a feeling that should work. And that doesn't work either. Yeah, I'm deleting this video. Uint 16, age equals uint 16. This value is not a function, cannot be applied. Okay, so go something like that. And something like that. Put a space. If I just say int or age equals integer, and that's fine. So, but if I say unsigned int, I say 16, what really is the difference? I should be able to say, theoretically, I should just be able to do this right here, cast it to a uint, and then I think wrap this like that, and it should just work. But that doesn't work. Converse argument says full name. The value is not a function, cannot be applied. The expression expected after uint. And saying, but I'm giving it a function that takes a arbitrary value and yields a uint 16. Okay. If I put it here, and that finally works, which means that I should be able to get rid of this over here. And compiler should be, are you serious? That's a lot of, really? All right, so I feel like this is unnecessary. I should be able to get rid of that, get rid of this, and that's fine. Nope, that's not fine. All right, so forget it. In order to make illegal states unrepresentable, hence doing an unsigned integer, I need to basically have something like this in here. Now, strange, but I guess I need to, I need to refresh my understanding of casting and order of precedence. So, yeah, I'm going to delete this video. This is not beginner. All right, so let age equals age, unsigned integer, 16, and then I just pass it a 1. If I wanted to do -1, then yeah, that's what I expect. I should get a compile error. Okay. So what else? All right, so I have that over here, and that's pretty ugly. If I wanted to write this a different way, I could probably do something like this. 1 pipes into a, no, I can't do that. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. I would have to do something like this right here. And pipe it like this. And get rid of the parentheses over here. And that's another way of assigning an age of an unsigned int. Okay, that's of 16 bits. All right, so this is interesting. I want to delete this video. What else do we have? I could say let race equals race. Come here, race. And then here I could say black, like that. Compiler's happy with that. I could say let name equal name, and then say Scott, something like that. I think this is called like a constructor for a string. So this name is a wrapper of Scott. This race is a wrapper of black. And so theoretically, I could have something like let me start over. I could have something like let get name equal, and that get name is going to take a name wrapper, and we can kind of say something like this. We could say function to get rid of name wrapper here. Scott, you're getting advanced. It's supposed to be intro. And then I could say name. How do I do this? I could say name, and then value equals value like that. Okay. And come here. And that squiggly should go away. And I could either have it like that, or I could just do this right here. So then I can probably do something like let results equal, and I take this name, I pipe that into get name, and I don't like that get name. I'm going to rename that. If I do Control RR, that's a refactor shortcut, and I say get value. Come here, something like that. Okay. And so if I can do Alt Enter to register this in my REPL, read, evaluate, print loop, something like that. And that should be registered. Okay. And we see right here that the results is of type string, and the value is Scott. Okay, so to show you or to keep it simple, la 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 la, we can take all this stuff right here. Come here. We can get rid of this code right here and re-register this. Enter. But how do you clear out this? This is to clear everything. Control-Alt-C. Control-Alt-C clears my REPL, and then I can select everything in. I'll select everything with the last line, and I do Alt Enter, okay, and that registers everything. Then I do Control Alt C, clears out everything. For the last line, I can select that, and then I do Alt Enter, and it says that the results of this get value, in which I pass in the name, is going to be Scott, right? And so that looks right. And we could do something like we could delete this line name, and we can do name. So we could do, come here, we could do Scott like that, and then we can pipe that into our name constructor, and then pipe that into get value. And so we can go ahead, enter, and we still get Scott, right? Which you can format it like this, or you can format it like that, right? I usually format it like this right here. But oh shoot, I said salt, Scott. Okay, but I mean, when it's longer amount of code, then I might do it like that. But for something that's very terse, right, or concise, then this is fine right here. So okay, I say result equals Scott. I pipe that into the name constructor, pipe that into get value, and we got this value over here, salt. All right, let me Alt Enter, and we see Scott over here. Okay, Control Alt C clears out everything. Bring that back, bring it back. Alt Enter, we got Scott over here. Yes. All right, so this get value equals function, and then we pattern match on name, and we're going to basically extract this V. V stands for value, right? And it's of type string, and then that's what it returns, a string. Or we can say equal match name with V, right? We could do that. Am I doing that right? I think I'm doing that right, but it's not right. The type name does not match the type string. How does this work? Get value equals. Oh yeah. I got. Yeah, I did that wrong. Name here. Then we could say match name with, and then over here we could say name. Freak. We could say name V, and then that's going to yield V, and V is for value. So match the name that we pass in, which is our parameter value. We match our name parameter with a type name that has data attached to it that we call V. V can stand for value. It's of type string, and we're just going to return that string value like that. And that's the long version, right? But you can make a shortcut as I did earlier, and basically instead of match with, my girl's calling me. Instead of match with, I'm gonna call her back. You can basically do something like this, where you say function, and you can just have name v, and then you yield v like that, right? Now, because we only have a single case union, then we don't need this pipe, right? Or we don't need, yeah, I think that's called a pipe character. We don't need that. We could just do something like this, okay? And if I want to clear this, something like that, and I can go ahead and do something like that, okay? So, yeah, that was fun, right? This video is no longer intro to programming using F# Vol.3. This video is just me just dabbling and I don't know, practicing, trying different things. Like, for example, me learning about how to use unsigned integers and understanding the various error messages that I could get. So it was a cool exercise. What else? La 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 la. Okay. We have age. Yeah, we already did. No, we did name. Is there anything else I want to do? So these are single case union types. You could also have a discriminated union that represents a choice type. So you could have like type info equals, and then you say name of string, and then you can say shoot, here, Willis, something like this, age of unit 16, and then you could say race, come here, race of string, all right? And I like organizing my types, keep the strings together because my OCD says so. All right, type info. Now, if you do this, let's get rid of everything else. If you do this, then we can only pattern match on one specific item. So what I mean by that is we can say info. How do I do this? Let x equal info, and I would say, I'm screwing this up. Let x equals race, and then black, okay? And so then we can later say let results, let's see. And hold up, we can say let result equal, and then we can say function, and that function can basically do a pattern match. The function can basically do a pattern match, and we can basically pattern match on name, in which we attach a value to the name, right? And we output that value. We can attach race, okay? And we can also use v for value there and output the race value, and we can pattern match on age, right? And we can basically take that value and we can yield that value for age, okay? So how does this work? Oh no, it doesn't like B over here. Hold on, it says all branches must return value of same type. And the reason why it's complaining about that is because we have string, and then an unsigned integer. Okay. So what this compiler error is complaining about is a function can only return a value of a specific type. And so within this pattern matching that we're doing, the first two cases we're returning strings, but the very last case, which is the age, we're trying to return an unsigned integer. But we can take the unsigned integer and we can basically convert that into a string. So in order to accomplish that, we can just simply take the value that we're yielding from that age that we're doing pattern match on, and we could just say string like this. Yes. Okay. And so the compiler is happy. And if I wanted to test that, I can basically take this line up here, which says let x equals race black. And I can re-add this to the bottom. And then I can say, if I really wanted to, I could say let results equal. And then I can say, let me rename this result function up here to something else, like get value, okay? All right, so then I can say let result equals, and I say get value, all right? And it's going to take x, which we defined up here. And when I register all this in my REPL, I select all the code there, and I do Alt Enter, then that stuff should get registered. Now I want to clear my REPL really fast, and I just want to get the very last value, right? Whatever's currently in X, which is basically a race that's wrapped over the string value black. Well, if I go ahead and execute this, it's going to say black up here. All right, that's it. So this basically, as I said, has nothing to do with an intro to programming using F#. This has everything to do with me just playing around with the REPL and experimenting. And hopefully, if there's anything that you learn, well, you're not going to learn anything if you're a beginner. But if you're kind of intermediate with F#, then maybe you've learned that there's an alias for using the match with expression, in which you can use this function word right here instead of match whatever value with, and then you do pattern matching like that. All right, my girl is online. I'm about to talk to her, and I think I'm done. And yeah, that's it. So I'm stopping this broadcast. My name is Scott Nimrod. I'm available for hire. I'm in Miami, and I specialize in test automation, mobile development, desktop application development, and coaching developers from junior developers to senior developers. And yeah, let me help you become more awesome. All right, I'm out. Adios. Peace.